So it's the Hall of Fame tonight, happening right now.
Go watch it.
And we're...
It's over, I think.
This is... What is this called, Sam Keola?
It's called a pickleback.
So what's in it?
It's whiskey and pickle juice.
I don't like pickle juice or pickles. But I'm going to try this because this is what I feel about a lot of this year's Hall of Fame.
Wait, you gotta look at the camera. You can't just turn your head. Actually, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. I thought it would be much worse. Those would be much worse.
All right, this is our Monotl video, and I gave you zero notice because I was like, if I'm trying this on camera, it's gonna be a Monotl video.
Yeah.
So this is our Monotl video on Hall of Fame. We're gonna talk about a couple people that maybe we think should be in the Hall of Fame, and that aren't already. I know we had talked before we started doing this video business that we were surprised for a while that Rick Rude wasn't in the Hall of Fame. Of course, he went in a couple, like last year, I think. Yeah,
it was last year before last.
I think it was last year. But
yeah, because I think him and Henning went in at the same time, right?
No.
Was it not? You're back to back.
Oh, maybe back to back, not at the same time.
Yeah.
But so basically, what we're going to talk about today is some people that we think should be in the Hall of Fame.
Ah.
Especially because of what's going on in wrestling right now. So for me, my big name that's always been at the top of my list is like, are you gonna guess it?
I'm scared to guess it for one.
Are you gonna give an actual guess, or are you gonna just give a bullshit guess? Who do you think I think should be in the Hall of Fame? Come on, the answer is so easy.
Is it?
Yeah. It's so easy.
I don't know.
You're lying that you don't know.
Besides Macho Man?
Macho Man is
in
in
the
the...
whole thing now, isn't he? Yeah. They finally broke down to that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
My favorite wrestler of all time, Brian Pillman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Especially with the emphasis on the cruiserweight division, especially now that Triple H has sort of taken more control of 205 Live. I think it would be a really good opportunity to look back at some of the cruiserweights of the years past that have not made it in yet. Of course, I don't think Chris Benoit will ever be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
I do think that Brian Pillman, who
degree.
in WCW held the cruiserweight title and light heavyweight championship, and had a really good series with Liger over the belt, I think he would be an incredible person to include. And not to mention, this year in tag team wrestling, one of the most popular tag teams in WCW pretty much started the career of Stone Cold, aka
he
Stunning
definitely
Steve.
learned a lot from Pillman there. But I would have go far back, like Pillman and Z-Man was definitely a stable tag team in WCW back in the day.
I think
that was like their answer to the
not as flashy or sparkly. I think as the Hollywood Blondes.
No, but I mean we're talking quite a bit before the Blondes.
Yes,
it was a face tag team, so they filled that gap that they didn't have the Rock and Roll Express or the Rockers like WWE. And, the Rock and Roll Express was all over the place.
Yes.
But
still all over the place.
Still all over the place, especially
they just
Ricky
went in
Morton.
last year, I think.
But I mean, they fit the mold.
Yeah.
And
then on the flip side, Brian Pillman, as far as
Pillman and the Heart Foundation.
After he was unable to do a lot more of the Flying Brian stuff, where he became a little bit more of the loose cannon, just the amount of character work that went into that.
Yeah.
I think especially with how they're trying to push characters such as the entire stable of Sanity or Dean Ambrose or some other people that have really risen to notoriety over the past couple of years.
Considering his work with the Horsemen, the Heart Foundation, his work with in the feud with Austin.
Plus,
not to mention his tag team with Austin.
His son is just broke into wrestling this year.
So I would agree that would be a really good one. And even in the toy line, he is in the Legend series.
Yes.
They come out with Pillman, I believe, twice.
I have two different Brian Pillmans. I have a Flying Brian, and then I have a loose cannon that is paired with the Dean Ambrose, and it says both loose cannons of their time. And I was like,
Well, I believe there's a horseman.
of course, that's where I get my name from, loose cannon.
Yeah, I believe there's a horseman version in the Legends Elite as well. So they have a lot of Pillman figures out there, and he is definitely a legend. So it's surprising he's not put in the Hall of Fame yet.
Maybe they're waiting until Brian Jr. is signed.
Is the Hart Foundation in the Hart Hall of Fame, or just
I don't
Brett
think the Hart Foundation as a whole. No.
So I mean,
I think that the holdout for that is the whole thing with Owen.
Oh.
Because I think they still have a kind of acrimonious relationship.
Possibly. Well.
But I mean, like the acrimonious relationship they have with Macho Man Randy Savage, this too shall pass. I think.
Yeah.
So we've yet to see, of course. But then
There's so many that have gone in, and I'm not even up to date who's not even in it. One of my favorites that I would like to see in it would be Kichi Muda, the Great Muda.
And let me double check to see if he is, because I feel
He's
like
not.
It would be that's something you're certain of.
Yeah, I believe they did Antonio Inoki here a couple years back.
Yes, they did induct Inoki.
The reason why I would say Kichi Muda because he was really the first huge international star from Japan.
Yes. And there's so much.
And there really hasn't been anybody that large from Japan until Shinsuke now.
What I mean, there's also the fact that the influence that he had on professional wrestling, and just a lot of the little mannerisms or little character things that he had.
Yeah.
You saw sort of other Japanese wrestlers that had careers or I guess sort of careers in the United States.
It
sort
almost
of pay
became a
tribute to.
stereotype too. Like a lot of them would come over, they were fine with doing that to pay a tribute, but I believe a lot of promoters were just like, "Hey,
no, do this,
do what that guy did," and that became like a staple almost to be expected for.
Of course, the
main Japanese wrestler is going to be Muda.
Yeah, the main tribute I think that we saw the most of course, was Tajiri. In his Spitting of the Mist, and I think they've had a couple matches where the two of them do the sort of trade-off where they both spit the mist at each other.
They've also teamed together.
Yes, they have, which is cool.
But as we talked about in our other video, Sonata, who when he was in TNA, he did a Muda type character, and then there was another one, and I can't remember his name, and he went also to TNA and did a Muda type character. So it's interesting that.
You see so many remnants of that in how Japanese wrestlers are portrayed in the United States or in the West in general, and it's funny how it's never gone past other people paying tribute, and it's never a direct acknowledgement of the influence of that he had.
That would be probably my number one that isn't in there would be Kichi Muda.
I was like, you wanna hear one that I think should be, that will probably never be in there?
Who's that?
Or I guess two. One is Luna Vachon.
Definitely should be.
Because I mean, not just because of her, but I mean, her family, wrestling family of
her dad, yeah,
Butcher and Mad Dog as well, and China.
Oh yeah,
China's whole thing is a very twisted web.
Well, I mean, but I would say this: like, if Triple H takes over, China could be a possibility to go in there.
But I think that, especially with how they've been treating the women's evolution, the women's revolution over the past couple years, I think it's a travesty that neither of these, who I think were hugely trailblazers. China, of course, one of the few women to hold
the Intercontinental
Championship. And Luna Vachon, one of the first women that really, I think, broke a lot of the stereotypes of diva, because she was not only brutal in the ring, but she really, I think, made it her mission to sort of stray away from the typical beauty aesthetic of women's wrestling.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who else who may not be. Is Abdullah the Butcher? I'm sure he's not in WWE Hall of Fame. I mean, you got. I mean, Abdullah the Butcher. How can you not include him in the Hall of Fame? Talk about heel work.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. Who else you got?
I think the three main ones that I've mentioned are the three that I will keep mentioning until the day they get in.
Another one that I
Brian
would
Pillman
include
is one I'm very passionate about, considering the fact that he was so, especially with the whole loose cannon gimmick, he was so far ahead of his time that now people are starting to pick up on the things that he did then use them now and see how effective and successful they are.
Especially in this day and age, and you look at how he stayed in character all the time, is you didn't know if he was shooting or not. So like, a lot of guys are using that now, like Matt Hardy, to try to get over.
And even Dean Ambrose's limited use of social media to try and keep, I think, that a little bit more under a veil.
Yeah. Is Eddie Gilbert in the Hall of Fame?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
That would be one for me too. Hot stuff, Eddie Gilbert. I mean, it's been a long time since he's passed, but
I mean, it was a while since Rude passed and he got in.
Yeah. Go grab the chair, baby. What you need? What? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be our short little video.
Yeah. So mine would be Keiji Muto, Abdullah the Butcher, and Eddie Gilbert.
And my three are Luna Vachon, China, and the Loose Cannon.
Yeah.
Flying Brian, the Hollywood One.
That would be a great Hall of Fame right there. You know, at least half of it.
Yeah.
So, there you go.